Donald Trump's brain doesn't work, and it is a huge inconvenience to MAGA Republicans. And today, it was a huge inconvenience to the secret that Tim Scott has been hiding his entire political career. Now, I don't want to make any big accusations. I don't want to be the one, taking someone out of their comfort zone, but it's a good thing that I don't have to, because Donald Trump is also Tim Scott. Be yourself. You and Lindsey Graham, be yourself. Be public, which is what Donald Trump wanted them to do today with a little slip of the tongue, which has become commonplace for trumpet speeches lately. That was just maybe the most hilarious thing that's happened in a while. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, Donald Trump isn't the only person who's showing us that Donald Trump's brain doesn't work anymore. It was funny that as all of these meltdowns are happening and then the president's increasingly dripping out of his years pudding brain, Gavin Newsom had some thoughts for where Donald Trump's cognitive state is. I want to start there before we get to the slip of the tongue that embarrassed Tim Scott. Newsom taunts Trump over his shriveled little brain after health confession. Governor Gavin Newsom ripped Donald Trump and his shriveled little brain after the president issued a chilling threat to California. The California governor hit back Tuesday after Trump went off in an early morning Truth Social rant, dumbing him new scum and declaring a fraud investigation had begun into the state. Ha ha ha. Donald Trump is a deranged, habitual liar whose relationship with reality ended years ago, Newsom wrote on Twitter. He spends his days posting whatever garbage his shriveled little brain can cough up, and Fox News dutifully treats it like the Lord's scripture. In Trump's Truth Social post, he raged that new scum was more corrupt than Minnesota, if that's possible. The swipe followed a sustained MAGAP pylon targeting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, culminating in the former vice presidential candidate announcing Monday that he would not seek re-election in 2026. The attack centered on weeks of scrutiny over the state's troubled welfare fraud scandal. Trump appeared to warn in the post that California governor, a rumored 2028 Democratic hopeful, could be his next target. So I don't think it will surprise anyone when I say this, but Gavin Newsom is probably right about Donald Trump's clearly declining mental state. We're increasingly seeing it from a very unstable former president. Trump practically exposes his own cognitive and physical deterioration every day. At his speech to Republicans on Capitol Hill today, he bizarrely claimed he has never been better, while complaining about a New York Times report noting his reduced schedule and fewer public appearances. His defense was ridiculous. He argued they weren't counting his lunches as work time. That was genuinely his response to concerns about his health, but things only went downhill from there as Trump continued to embarrass himself with nonsense, which eventually led into the moment involving Tim Scott. This earlier rant perfectly set the stage for it.
They are mean and smart, but fortunately for you, they have horrible policy. They can be smart as can be, but when they want open borders, when they want, as I said, men and women's sports, when they want transgender for everyone, bring your kids in, we're going to change the sex of your child. Just send them our way. In some cases, like in Minnesota, they don't even tell the parents. Is that right? And nobody believes it when I say it. I think we have 6 states. Nobody, am I correct? Okay, Tom Emmer said yes, so. But it's true. Where the kid comes back, they keep the kid. They operate on the kid. They don't tell the parents. It's not believable. We have great, solid common sense policy.
He sounds completely clueless. He just blurts out hateful phrases. These aren't even talking points, just words he likes the sound of. That's the ultimate pattern of his speech. Rachel Maddow highlighted this perfectly last night, showing how Trump has always had this obsession with phrases like, take the oil, no matter the country, as if oil were just sitting in barrels at a supermarket waiting for him. He also enjoys spouting words like transgender for everyone, fraud, Democrats, or radical left communist. There's no coherent argument, just words strung together. And when he actually forms a sentence, it often lands poorly, even for those closest to him. Case in point, what he said about Tim Scott, who, admittedly, isn't exactly the most politically savvy person.
But Andrew Jackson was treated horribly. He was a great general and a good president. So bad that his wife died. I mean, his wife died. They were horrible. But I just saw a report came out the other day. I blow them away. He never got impeached twice. I got impeached twice or nothing. On a perfect phone call, remember? Perfect phone call. Tim Scott, who's a great guy, great, wonderful guy, South Carolina, straight guy, right? He is a good guy, good person. He's an honest person. He read a transcript. Thank goodness I had a transcript. Essentially, the call was taped because they tape calls. I didn't even know. So was that call taped? Yes, sir. I said, oh, well, bring it down. I don't even know. And we read the transcript. It was perfect. It was so good. I told Ukraine not to cheat. And if you see any cheating, report it to the Attorney General of the United States. That was my call. They said, he was trying to intimidate. All I said is, don't cheat. And we have a signed agreement that Ukraine can't cheat. You know that. It's the only country we have actually a signed. They violated the agreement many times, I would tell you. You'll find out. I was right about that, too.
Trump said Tim Scott, straight guy, right? Jessica Tarloff responded with a dead emoji, the skull and crossbones. Another Twitter user wrote, Tim Scott is an obvious closet case who, of course, we know arranged to have a marriage or at least a proposal during his brief campaign for president and VP. Do y'all remember this? First off, Tim Scott. Live your truth, man. Go out. Love who you want. Love is love. South Carolina's got some great spots. Myrtle Beach, Charleston. Surf's decent. Just watch out for jellyfish. But seriously, Tim, you'll find love. Now, remember when Trump brought up Tim Scott's fiancée? He made that bizarre comment about wanting the blondest, whitest woman for his campaign, acting like that somehow mattered for his political image. Then he spirals into questioning Tim Scott's sexuality. Is he straight? Who does he like? Just rambling nonsense. His brain is clearly broken. It gets funnier when you see how these same senators like Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham are so eager for war. Go into Cuba, Mexico, Greenland, whatever. Tucker Carlson even pointed out how many closeted, war-hungry Republican senators exist, hinting directly at the South Carolina delegation. It's like they just love kicking back, having margaritas, and plotting conflicts. Honestly, leave Congress. Go live your truth somewhere else. Enjoy life. We're good. Meanwhile, Trump's energy is mostly spent attacking those who aren't as pliable. Senators who are confident and speak back, like Mark Kelly. He's been firing back at Trump and Hegst a lot lately. And it's worth checking out how he handled it in his interview with Rachel Maddow.
Well, I'm surprised that they're continuing down this path and taking, these steps to try to silence me, silence other members of Congress, silence retired members of the military, former service members, really silence the American people. I mean, this isn't totally only about me. This is about all of us. And I mean, this started back in November when we put out that video and Donald Trump said I should be hanged, I should be executed, prosecuted. And then Pete Hegseth ran with that and said he was going to court-martial me. And so today we're at the point where I guess they realized they wouldn't do well with a jury in a court-martial, so they're just going to go on their own and try to demote me after 25 years of service in the United States Navy. But here's the thing, Rachel. I'm never going to back down from these guys. I'm going to continue to speak out. I'm going to continue to do my job. And as much as I can, highlight how wrong these people are and how outrageous this is and how dangerous. So I'm not going away. This is just one step in this this process. And I think it's fair to say it's a big one.
I'm struck by the way this does and doesn't fit the pattern of other acts taken by the Trump administration in this past year. They have taken different types of acts of retribution against people who they see as their political opponents or their political rivals or their critics, running the gamut. Everybody from members of the board of the Fed to other elected officials to indictments of former Trump administration officials. And so it seems to fit that sort of pattern in one way. But with you, there's also the substance of the matter, which is why they're going after you by their own admission, which is advising service members that they do not need to, and indeed they must not disobey illegal orders. Do you think this is part of something they are trying to fundamentally change in the military in terms of the way the president uses the military, the way he orders them to act, and the kinds of expectations we have for ethical and lawful behavior by U.S. service members?
Well, could be partly that. I think the bigger thing here is Donald Trump didn't like what I said, and he was so struck by it, and in some ways, maybe I hurt his ego in a way that he now is starting to understand that members of the military don't have blind loyalty to him. He should know this. He's the commander in chief. He's been president before. The loyalty is to the Constitution, not to a person. And he didn't like that. And he did what he normally does, which is opens his mouth before he thinks. And then doubles down on it. And these are dangerous words, because if he can get me to shut up, I mean, I'm a U.S. senator. I was an astronaut. I spent, 4 trips in space. I flew 39 combat missions. If he's successful in getting me to not speak out against him or the government or Pete Hegseth or whoever and not do my job, I mean, what does that say to all these other retired and ex-service members? What rights do they have anymore? And this extends even beyond that. I think if they're successful.
Now, Mark Kelly, that's a secure guy. Way more secure than Tim Scott, Lindsey Graham, or even Donald Trump. I'll make that bold claim. Tim Scott's probably like, yeah, this Mark Kelly seems solid, good looking. What's up? But seriously, Trump should have stopped before even hinting at anything about Tim Scott's personal life. That's where this video ends. While we're ahead, if you want to support this show, hit that subscribe button and leave a like. And if you stuck around to the end and you're not Tim Scott, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.